Hello, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and I just bought a property on Cagney Beach. It's right next to the Mia, see? Someone's gonna get that joke. Please laugh at it. But, since I've gotten home from Blade Show, I have been asking myself the question, Knives, I guess, what are you gonna carry first? And, like, I've been cycling through all the options that I've had, because y'all know I've bought a ton of cool stuff to mess with. Like, it's been hard to decide, but it's gonna be the RoseCraft Castorea. And I have done a ton of takes on this, and I haven't quite nailed it because there's so much going on here that I really like that it's been hard to get it articulated properly. But we're going to try. Let's take a look at what we got. And first things first, this is the Castorea. And on the website, it's $20. At Blade Show, it was $20. They are getting rid of a lot of old stock and old designs to make room for new designs and new inventory. So there are deals to be had. There's a lot of stuff that is insanely well priced right now on the website. But first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. You've got it reversible, and you've got a button lock on here and a flipper tab. So let's flick the bean. And 3.9-inch D2 steel blade. This button lock only allows it to close. It doesn't let you open it. So and the button lock is funky. So let's flick the bean again. Like, if you can see this, it's kind of like the doors on the hinges that close it softly. This becomes incredibly forgiving about your speed and your timing when you're swinging that blade shut. So that is a huge stark difference from all the button locks I've tried, where if your timing isn't right, it bounces back open, or like that Civivi Cogent, you can't time it right to keep it from bouncing back open. This makes it very, very forgiving, and if you're going to do something different with a button lock, this is how you do it. I really like that a lot. It makes it a lot easier to deal with, and it's going to be so much easier when I'm working with it. I got to pull it out, open it, close it on the fly, and get it back where it belongs. That's going to be so good. And and this is designed by Andy Armstrong. One of the cool things with RoseCraft, you go on the website, you look up the specs for these things, and it tells you exactly who designed it right there at the bottom of the spec sheet. And, you know, it's a fairly small group of designers, so you see the same names pop up again and again. And this is probably the coolest looking thing I saw at the table at Blade Show. Like, my first two I bought for the price, I saw this, and I was like, I'm going to grab that, and then I didn't, and I came back on Sunday, I was like, I have to grab it. And I picked it up and I handled it, and I was like, I got to give one of these away too, so I bought one, and Andy is awesome. He gave us a pocket monster to give away when I bought my pocket monster, and he wants me to thrash that pocket monster on Cardboard Slayer. That's going to be fun. But, you know, the colors on this really, really pop. The one that I bought for the giveaway is black and gray. I figured that's going to appeal to more people, but for me, this orange and the gray together really, it speaks to the design language that I like. Like, the design language here speaks to me loud and clear. You know, and like, I've seen a bunch of RoseCraft videos, especially from Tim's School of Fish, and they've all been traditionals. And, like, as much as I like looking at traditionals, you know, there's some problems for me. Like, I can't use them at work. I can't be digging under a big wad of keys to pull one out, open it two-handed, close it two-handed, and put it back. I need one hand opening, one hand closing, and a pocket clip, which pretty much limits me to moderns. There's also some safety issues, like I don't like the thought of a traditional closing on my finger and slicing me open. It's happened before, not in a long time, but, you know, I don't want that to happen to me. But when Tim showed a couple of moderns, that got my attention. And this thing does a good job of jumping the gap between modern and traditional. You know, it's got a very traditional look to it. You know, and it's hard to pin down exactly how I would describe this look, but it is a traditional look, but it's got the modern features that I want and need. And I like traditional looking stuff. I like vintage looking stuff, and this has got a very vintage look to it. You know, it looks like it was designed quite a while ago. And even down to the finish on the steel, it's a little bit more muted on these things. It's not quite satin, but, you know, it's interesting. The fittings on the furniture, they're, yeah, satin's a good word for it, where they're usually shiny or brighter. And again, this gives it a much more old school vibe. And like I said, there's so much going on that I can't articulate my thoughts all in one go. But, you know, the design, this really grabs me by the short and curlies. I love it. You know, and again, like the 3.9-inch blade, I love my pocket swords, and this is getting right up into pocket sword territory. Like, you guys could do something in the 5-inch range, and I would be so happy to see it. You know, especially if you can nail down this kind of odd design and this design language in something that big. Oh yeah, that would be sweet. Now, the one drawback to this thing that I have found is the edge. So let's get some paper and let's cut with it. You know, it's definitely not the finest edge. And personally, like, I have a strong predilection for very fine factory edges. You know, I am in a light use environment. I don't have a chance to really beat these things to death at work. So, a finer edge is preferable, and it does what I personally need it to do a good bit better. Now, when I was talking to Andy at Blade Show, he said that Scab of Choir Boys Outdoors fame had one of his knives, I can't remember which model, but he said 42 straight days of carry and cutting up sandblaster hose. And if you've seen Choir Boys Outdoors, you know what he does to his knives. He has got a great opportunity to really beat these things down. And he said 42 days before it needed to be sharpened again. So I have to assume, and Andy, if you see this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the way this edge was ground was for edge retention and durability over you know, the fine hair splitting edge. I'm pretty sure that's it, because everything's so well designed, it's not like that would be just overlooked. There's got to be a reason behind it. Now, the thing is a factory edge, it's not the biggest problem in the world. Like, you know, I don't like this edge that much, but it's going to work for me. It'll do its job. But if the edge isn't satisfactory or does what I need it to, I can just put a new one on there. And I can put a new one on there that's mirrored and looks every bit as good as a factory edge because I have a fixed angle guided sharpening system. So that's not really a big problem. It's just going to impact the week I carry it. And this will be getting fed a ton of cardboard on a live stream at some point here. I'm either going to do like a RoseCraft special for Andy and the group over there, or it's going to be thrown in the box and picked at random. I haven't decided yet. The Pocket Monster is going to have to be a special episode just because he specifically asked me to wail on that one. But, you know, edges like this, I will say right now, the ones that we have had like this have all done between an hour and 2 hours on Cardboard Slayer before they got to be sharpened back up to cut right again. And that's just what happens to edges with these angles on them. And especially when it's a micro bevel with this angle, it's just going to be, or a very small bevel with that angle, that's just what happens to them. You know, the D2, especially if there is a good edge on it that, you know, is happy with eating that much cardboard back to back to back, is going to take over 4 hours to wear down. We have already seen that. So, like, the D2 steel, it's a good steel. It holds its edge. That's part of why it did so good for Scab. So, like, that's like a very minor ding on it, you know, and that's a personal preference thing, not a manufacturing defect as far as I can tell and to my best ability to guess. So, you know, I'm looking forward to carrying this, and yes, I had a whole lot to say about it. I'm not necessarily paying lip service here. It's just this design and the way this looks and everything about this, even the button lock, it grabbed my attention so hard, and this is speaking directly to me. It's almost like it was designed for me, that, you know, I had to try to articulate all my thoughts in one go. And, you know, this thing, it is a wonderful piece. I haven't seen anything else like it, and it's rare that I find something that speaks to this part of my aesthetic preference. Like, I just do not see that very often. This funk is perfect for me. So, I think I've gotten all my thoughts covered. I think I got it all out here on the table. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. We're on the road to 2,000. And as I said, I bought a RoseCraft. Andy gave me a RoseCraft, and I've got 2 other knives to give away at 2K. So if you're not subscribed, do yourself a favor, subscribe. Let's see if you can win yourself a knife. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing, especially if you're not familiar with RoseCraft yet. What do you think about this? You like the design? But all that being said, y'all have a nice day.